I've assembled a really nice figure from Masterbox Limited. This is a 132 scale French Imperial Dragoon from the Napoleonic period. Has a great pose, great detail, really nice figure. When you buy these figures and you assemble them, they don't come with a base. I like to put them on a wooden base. This is one that I had that has a nice angle on it. I think it looks really good with this figure. What I need to do now is apply groundwork, like in the illustration. What will I use? I'll use one of these texture materials from either Tamiya, AK Interactive, Vallejo. They're basically ground textures that you apply to the base. So let's take a look at adding ground texture to the figure base. What materials will we use to create this groundwork? The first thing I do is I mount my figure on the base with brass rod. This is K&S brass rod. Just cut a couple small pieces. Then I get a corresponding size drill bit in my pin vise. Very handy tool. I drill holes into the hooves of the horse and corresponding holes into the base itself. Once I get that done, I can use the Tamiya Diorama texture paint to create the soil. Then I use one of my favorite diorama materials. This is very exotic stuff. This is gutter silt from out in front of my house. People think I'm crazy. I go out and I gather up silt out of the driveway. And this stuff is great. It's all different sizes, all different textures. And once you put it down into the soil effect material and paint it, it looks great. So let's work on the groundwork on this figure base. My first step in creating the groundwork on the base is to mask off the edge of the base. You can see I just used regular masking tape and I have flexible tape. I use the flexible tape for the top edge because it curves. After I get that done, the next step is to take the figure off the base, which I've already pinned with the brass pins, and take sandpaper and rough up the top surface of the base. This is very smooth and slick. I want a little bit of a tooth there so that when I put the groundwork material on there, it'll stick. I personally like to use a power tool with a grinder in it and just grind away a little bit at the top edge here or at the top surface, creating a rough surface for the material to adhere to. I'm ready to apply the texture paint to the base. I've roughed up the base. What I'm going to do is take the horse off, and you can see where the two brass pins go into the base. I like to take a toothpick, cut it in half, and take the pointy ends of the toothpick and insert them into the holes where the brass rods for the horse go. This way, after the material's dry, I can take those out and be able to locate the brass rods again and put the horse back on. Also, while we're applying the texture paint, after I get a coat of it onto the base, I'm going to use this high-end diorama material that I showed you earlier and add some extra texture to the base. So, let me get on that and we'll see how it comes out. Here's the base with the texture paint applied and then with my exotic gravel mix sprinkled on top. Doesn't look pretty yet because what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry, test fit the horse, and then prime this because like I say, I like to paint my groundwork. If you want to just put on the texture paint by itself, that's great. It'll dry brown. It'll look great. Personally, I like to get in there, airbrush it, put some washes on, dry brush, and really accentuate all this detail that I applied. So we'll take a look at it after it's dry. Here's the groundwork primed. Came out pretty good. You can see all the little details on there, all the little rocks and things that I added on. Looks really good. I'll shoot a coat of brown on this so you can see it with some color on it. Then when I paint the figure, I'll do all the weathering, washes, dry brushes, and so forth. Really nice. Came out well.